For decades, the promise was simple. A cruise was the best value vacation money could buy. But I'm calling it right now. The era of the cheap cruise is officially dead. And I'm not just talking about inflation here. I'm talking about a complete change in how cruise lines charge you money. I've been looking at the new 2026 contracts from Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and NCL. And I found 7 specific traps that trick you into thinking you got a deal. From new tourist taxes that hit you after you book, to a silent price hike on Wi-Fi that happened just days ago, if you book your 2026 vacation using 2024 math, you are going to be shocked when you see your final bill. So today, I'm breaking down the exact cost of cruising in 2026, and I'm exposing the 7 financial traps you need to avoid. Welcome aboard. Let's start with the fee that didn't even exist when most of you started planning your 2026 trips. The new tourist taxes. If your 2026 itinerary includes Mexico, watch out. A new non-resident fee of roughly $42 per person is rolling out. For a family of 4, that's $168 vanishing from your wallet before you even step off the ship. But Europe is even worse. Venice, Santorini, Amsterdam. They're all implementing entry fees just to step off the ship now. You used to pay just port fees. Now you're paying an entry fee on top of that. And here's what makes this particularly annoying. These fees often get added after you've already booked. You see a great fare. You click reserve. And then weeks later, you get an updated invoice with these extra charges tacked on. I had someone email me just last week. They booked a Mediterranean cruise for their family. The original quote was one price. By the time they got their final documents, it was nearly $300 more because of these new fees. This is the new reality of cruising in 2026. Now, the cruise lines are doing something even sneakier with their own prices. Let's talk about Wi-Fi. Cruise lines upgraded their internet to Starlink, which is actually great. The connection is much better now, but they used that upgrade as an excuse to nearly double the price. Just days ago, Carnival quietly hiked their premium Wi-Fi to over $25.50 a day. Royal Caribbean is pushing $30 a day on their newer ships. Do the math with me here. For a 7-day cruise, getting internet for just 2 people is now a $350 to $400 expense. Think about that for a second. $400 used to be the price of an entire cruise ticket. Now it's just the price of checking your email. I remember when I started cruising, Wi-Fi was maybe $10 a day, and the connection was terrible. Now the connection is good, but you're paying premium prices for what feels like a basic necessity. If you're someone who needs to stay connected, and let's be honest, most of us are these days, you need to factor this into your budget from the start. But the most insulting change for 2026 isn't the Wi-Fi. It's what they're doing to your dinner. Gone are the days of unlimited lobster tails in the main dining room. Now, on lines like NCL and Royal Caribbean, if you want a second main course, get ready for a $15 surcharge. They call it reducing food waste. I call it nickel and diming. And here's the thing. This policy forces you towards specialty dining, which has also just raised cover charges to nearly $60 per person. So now a nice dinner for 2 at one of the specialty restaurants is a $150 event. I've been cruising for decades, and I've watched as the main dining room experience has slowly been chipped away. Menus have gotten smaller, portion sizes have shrunk, and now they're actually charging you for wanting a second helping. The message is clear. If you want the experience cruising used to be known for, you're going to pay extra for it. If the food cuts didn't make you frustrated, this one will. Mandatory gratuities have crept up to $20 per person, per day. For a family of 4 on a 7-night cruise, you're paying nearly $600 in tips. But here's my question. Are you getting better service? No. Stateroom attendants are now servicing nearly twice as many cabins as they did before 2020. I've spoken to crew members about this. They're stretched incredibly thin. So you're paying 30% more for what feels like 30% less attention. Your cabin might get cleaned once a day instead of twice. You might wait longer for room service. Your dining steward is juggling more tables than ever before. This isn't really a gratuity anymore. It's a hidden ticket price increase, plain and simple. And the cruise lines know most people don't factor this in when they see that advertised fare. Now we get to the biggest financial trap of 2026. The drink package. Stop buying this blindly. In 2024, the break-even point was about 5 or 6 drinks per day. You could reasonably hit that and feel like you got your money's worth. But with packages now hitting $110 a day on many ships, the math has completely changed. You now need to drink 8 to 10 cocktails every single day just to break even. Unless you want a hangover for 7 days straight, the package is basically a donation to the cruise line. I've done the math on this many times. I've used the calculators on sites like Cruisely and Cruise Mummy, and for most people, especially those who don't drink alcohol heavily, the drink package makes no sense. For 2026, pay-as-you-go is officially the smarter way to save money. Track what you're actually drinking for the first couple of days. You might be surprised how little you need compared to what that package costs. And here's the hidden cost nobody talks about. Your time. Cruise ships are sailing at over 100% capacity in 2026. Every sailing is packed. Every ship is full. This means the real cost of your cruise now includes standing in line, 30-minute waits for elevators, 45 minutes for anytime dining that isn't any time at all, fighting for a lounge chair by the pool at 7 in the morning. You're paying a premium price to stand in a queue. I've been on ships recently where every meal felt rushed, every venue felt crowded, and every port day felt chaotic. This is the hidden tax of modern cruising, and it's not going away. The final trap is actually the most dangerous one. It's booking blindly. Too many people see a low advertised fare, click reserve, and assume they got a deal. They don't look at what's included. They don't calculate the extras. They don't compare the total cost door to door. And then they're shocked when their final bill is 50 to 100% higher than that original fare. This is exactly what the cruise lines are counting on. They want you to focus on that headline number. That $900 cruise fare looks amazing until you add gratuities, Wi-Fi, drink packages, specialty dining, excursions, and all those new tourist taxes. Suddenly, that $900 cruise is costing you $2,000 or more. So is cruising actually dead? No, cruising is not dead. But blind booking is dead. You can no longer just click reserve and assume it's a deal. You need to know exactly what you're getting into. Here's what I recommend. First, look at older ships. The older, smaller ships often have lower capacity, lower prices, and visit the same ports as the mega ships. The experience can actually be better because you're not fighting 5,000 other passengers for everything. Second, always calculate the full door-to-door cost before you book. Add up the fare, the gratuities, the taxes, the Wi-Fi, the drinks, everything. Compare that total number, not just the headline fare. Third, book during promotions when extras are bundled in. Many cruise lines now offer packages that include Wi-Fi, gratuities, and drinks. Wait for those deals rather than paying for everything separately. Fourth, use a cruise travel agent. They often have access to deals and perks you won't find booking direct. And when things go wrong, you have someone fighting in your corner. The cheap cruise might be dead, but smart cruising is very much alive. You just need to know the traps before you fall into them. If you want to learn more about avoiding costly mistakes on your next cruise, take a look at this video where I break down the cabins you should absolutely avoid. Because getting the wrong cabin can ruin your trip just as fast as overpaying for it. See you over there. The cruise lines sell the balcony cabin as the ultimate dream. Total privacy, fresh air, the perfect escape. But honestly, that dream is a lie. I stopped booking balconies years ago, and it wasn't to save money. It was to protect my privacy and my safety. The balcony isn't an upgrade anymore. It's a liability. Here are the 10 reasons I will never book one again, and why, in 2026, neither should you. You step onto your balcony. You slide the door shut behind you. You assume you're completely alone. You're not. On most modern cruise ships, the bridge wings extend far beyond the hull. Mounted underneath those wings are high-powered security cameras. Those cameras run the entire length of the ship. They are designed to see everything along the exterior. Officers call this situational awareness. What it really means is full visual coverage of every balcony. If you're sunbathing, changing clothes, or doing something private, there is a real possibility someone on the bridge can see you clearly. This isn't a private terrace anymore. It's a monitored exterior deck. Balcony dividers look solid. They feel private. Acoustically, they do almost nothing. The curved steel structure of the ship reflects sound. It carries voices along the hull like a megaphone. If your neighbor is quietly talking 2 cabins away, you hear it. If they're arguing late at night, you hear it. And if they're enjoying their vacation at 2 in the morning, you will hear that too. Inside cabins are separated by hallways and thick insulation. Balcony cabins put you directly inside your neighbor's bedroom noise. Privacy doesn't stop at what you can see. It also includes what you can hear. The Do Not Disturb sign only applies to the hallway. It does not apply to the outside of the ship. Cruise ships fight salt spray non-stop. That means exterior cleaning happens every single day. Crew members clean railings. They wash windows. They polish glass. There is no warning schedule. It just happens when the ship needs it. You wake up early, you open the curtains, you step toward the balcony, and suddenly you're face to face with a crew member, standing on a platform, wearing a safety harness. Once that awkward moment happens, the illusion of privacy is gone forever. This one applies to those megaships like the Oasis and Icon class. Cruise lines, they'll sell you Central Park and Boardwalk balconies as if they're these premium cabins. But here's the thing, they're not ocean-facing rooms at all. They actually face inward. You're looking right at restaurants, bars, and public walkways instead of the sea. On the lower decks, these balconies are sitting directly above jogging tracks. Seriously, thousands of people pass by all day long. You're paying extra for a balcony, but instead of the ocean, you just get an audience. It's definitely not a retreat. Honestly, it's a fishbowl. The ship's funnel. Well, it has to vent diesel exhaust somewhere, right? Because of airflow and wind patterns, that exhaust often settles toward the back of the ship, especially on those aft-facing balconies. This is what they call soot fallout. You step outside for breakfast, and there are black specks scattered across your table. You lean on the railing at sunset, and suddenly, your white shirt is stained with oily residue. So, you aren't just paying for a view. You're actually paying to sit inside an exhaust path. Smoking is banned inside cabins, but let's be real. Rules are broken constantly. Cigars, cigarettes, vapes, you name it. The wind just carries that smoke along the side of the ship, straight onto nearby balconies. If someone 3 cabins upwind is smoking, your balcony fills with it, no question. Calling security rarely solves the problem, because by the time they arrive, the smoker is gone. That so-called fresh ocean air ends up smelling like a bar at closing time. Look at the divider between your balcony and your neighbors. On many ships, it's barely waist-high near the railing. It takes almost no effort to step over it. An inside cabin has one entry point, a heavy steel door with a deadbolt. A balcony cabin adds a second entry point, a glass sliding door. Many passengers forget to lock it, especially at night. Sleeping with the balcony door unlocked isn't relaxing. It's a serious security vulnerability. Leaving the balcony door open feels luxurious, right? But the ship's air conditioning system totally disagrees. Warm ocean humidity just rushes inside, and cold air hits it instantly. Condensation forms inside vents, on carpets, and even on curtains. So, if a balcony cabin smells damp or musty, it's because the door was left open. That smell isn't ocean air, it's mold. Obstructed view sounds minor, doesn't it? But in reality, it often means your balcony faces a lifeboat or maybe even a massive steel davit. Sure, you get daylight, but you see zero ocean. The discount is small, but honestly, the disappointment lasts the entire cruise. You're paying premium prices just to stare at emergency equipment. The infinite veranda is marketed as revolutionary. But let's be real, it isn't a balcony, it's just a window. Only the top half slides down, and the moment you open it, sensors shut off the air conditioning. Within minutes, the cabin turns hot and humid. You can have fresh air and sweat, or cool air and sealed glass. You can't have both. Most cruisers avoid inside cabins like the plague. No windows, no views. Some say it's like sleeping in a shoebox at sea. So why do I keep booking them over and over again? Well, after more than 30 cruises and thousands of dollars saved, I can tell you this: inside cabins are one of the most underrated travel hacks in cruising. They're not glamorous, they're not scenic, but they've let me travel farther, cruise more often, and actually enjoy my vacations more. And today, I'm going to show you why I always choose an inside cabin, even when I could afford something bigger. Plus, I'll share the unexpected perks most cruisers don't realize, including how one of my balcony upgrades totally backfired. Let's get into it. Let me be brutally honest. I wouldn't be able to cruise half as much if I didn't choose inside cabins. These rooms have saved me thousands of dollars, and I'm not exaggerating. While everyone else is overpaying for ocean views and balconies they barely use, I'm stretching my budget and going on twice as many cruises. One time, I compared two identical sailings. Same ship, same itinerary. The inside cabin, $900 cheaper. That's an entire Caribbean shore excursion package, flight upgrade, and drink package. All covered by what I didn't spend on a view I'd barely be in the room to see. And here's the real trick no one talks about. Book early, then reprice often. Cruise prices can drop weeks before departure, and if you haven't hit final payment, you can usually rebook at the lower rate. It's how I've saved hundreds of dollars mid-booking, sometimes without lifting a finger. Most people don't realize this, but inside cabins aren't a downgrade. They're a strategy. This might sound crazy, but inside cabins are actually some of the quietest places on the entire cruise ship. Yeah, the rooms people say are cramped and claustrophobic, they're also the only place where you can actually escape the noise. See, on one cruise, I stayed in a promenade view room, a window cabin that looked out over the ship's interior boardwalk. It sounded fun on paper, until midnight karaoke started echoing through the walls. Kids were screaming, glasses clinking. The hallway lights never dimmed. We barely slept. But the next cruise, I went back to my trusty inside cabin. No windows, no noise, no distractions, just pure silence and the darkest sleep I've had in years. And here's the trick. If you book an inside room that's sandwiched between other cabins, away from the theater, elevators, or nightclubs, it becomes your own personal sleep sanctuary. No footsteps above you, no bass thumping from the nightclub, just you, your pillow, and blackout-level silence. I didn't realize how much I valued peace until I finally got it. This might be the biggest surprise of all. Inside cabins, the cheapest rooms on the ship, actually give you the best sleep you'll ever have on vacation. No balcony, no window, no sunlight, and that's exactly why they work. One cruise, I stayed in a balcony cabin facing the ocean. Gorgeous view. But every single morning, the sun came blasting through the curtains at 6 a.m. like a spotlight. I couldn't sleep in, even when I wanted to. The next cruise, I went back to my usual inside cabin, and it was a total game changer. I slept 9 hours straight. No alarms, no light leaks, no interruptions, just pure, uninterrupted blackout. And here's the thing most people don't realize. It doesn't matter if it's 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. In an inside cabin, your body thinks it's midnight. That means instant naps, deeper sleep, and more energy for your actual vacation. On port-heavy cruises, when you're waking up early and walking 10,000 steps a day, that kind of rest is everything. You didn't come on vacation to wake up tired. You came to feel amazing. And ironically, the room that helps you do that is the one most people overlook. You might think an inside cabin is cramped, awkward, and barely livable. But here's the truth. These rooms are way more functional than people give them credit for. And in some cases, they actually work better than bigger cabins. Let me explain. On one of my first cruises, I was nervous about booking an inside room. I imagined bumping into furniture, nowhere to put my things, no space to move. Basically sleeping in a closet at sea. But when I walked in, I was shocked. Everything had a place. The closet was full-sized. The bed was huge. Even the nightstands had drawers. The vanity doubled as a desk, and there was hidden shelving I didn't even notice at first. It was like being in a tiny, perfectly engineered spaceship. Compact but efficient, and way more comfortable than I expected. And here's what no one tells you. Cruise lines know these rooms are small, so they've designed them down to the centimeter. You're not just getting a cheaper cabin, you're getting a space that's been optimized for actual travelers. So unless you're planning to stay in your cabin all day, which let's be honest, you won't feel like you're missing anything. In fact, you might start wondering, why were you paying more for space you never used? Let's be honest. Have you ever bought something expensive and then felt like you had to force yourself to use it just to feel like it was worth it? That's exactly what happened when I booked my first suite on a cruise. The room was gorgeous, massive balcony, comfy couch, even extra perks like a priority check-in. But halfway through the cruise, something weird happened. I started stressing about whether I was using it enough. Should I be relaxing more in the room? Should I skip this show and enjoy the balcony? Should I stay in and get my money's worth? Suddenly, I wasn't thinking about what I wanted to do. I was thinking about what I should do to justify the price. Now compare that to cruising in an inside cabin. I sleep, I shower, I leave. That's it. And because I'm not paying for luxury, I don't feel obligated to use it. No guilt, no pressure, no second-guessing my fun. I can spend my days exactly how I want, from sunrise at the buffet to late-night karaoke, without once thinking, should I be in my room right now? Sometimes, the best value isn't what gives you more. It's what gives you the freedom to enjoy everything else. What if I told you some inside cabins actually have a view, even though there's no window at all? I didn't believe it at first either, but it's real, and it's kinda genius. On some of Royal Caribbean's newer ships, you can book an inside cabin with something called a virtual balcony, a massive floor-to-ceiling screen that shows you the exact live view from outside the ship. Waves rolling, sunrises, even port arrivals, all in real time. The first time I stayed in one, I walked in and thought, wait, am I in the wrong room? Because it actually felt like a balcony cabin, even though I was paying inside cabin prices. And Norwegian? They've gone a step further. They now have solo cabins with built-in virtual windows just for one-person stays, and they're surprisingly cozy. Now, does it feel exactly like having a real balcony? Of course not. You can't step out, smell the ocean, or hear the wind, but it gives you the illusion of space. And sometimes, that's all you need to feel a little less boxed in. It's kind of like cruise ship magic, using tech to make a small room feel big. And if you've ever worried about feeling claustrophobic in an inside cabin, this just might be the feature that changes your mind. Let me tell you about the time I upgraded to a balcony cabin and instantly regretted it. We were cruising around Iceland. Glaciers, fjords, absolutely breathtaking. I figured, you know what? I deserve this. So I paid an extra $300 for a balcony cabin, thinking I'd spend every morning sipping coffee with a view. But the moment we set sail, I realized I had made a mistake. Our neighbors? Let's just say they didn't care about the no-smoking policy, or the fact that marijuana is banned on board. They were lighting up on the balcony, constantly. Every time I stepped outside to enjoy the view, it hit me like a wall. Not ocean breeze, not fresh air, smoke, all day. We reported it. The cruise line handled it professionally, but for those first few days, my expensive upgrade, completely wasted. And that's when it hit me. Inside cabins don't have this problem. No balconies, no smoke drifting in, no awkward eye contact through glass dividers. Just walls. Soundproof. Problem-free. Inside cabins might be small, but they come with peace of mind you can't always buy, even if you upgrade. And if you think that's the only hidden downside of balcony cabins, wait until you hear this next one. All right. Now that you've seen the perks, let's talk about you. Because the real question isn't whether inside cabins are good. It's whether they're right for your cruise. So let me break it down. If you're cruising on a budget, and I mean really trying to stretch every dollar, this is the easiest win of your whole vacation. Skip the balcony, book the inside cabin, and use that extra cash for excursions, drinks, or even another cruise. If your itinerary is port-intensive, you know, where you're off the ship nearly every day, why pay more for a view you won't be there to enjoy? Now, flip that. If you're sailing through Alaska, Iceland, or Norway, the kind of destinations where the view is the experience, then yes, a balcony might actually be worth it. Waking up to glaciers and fjords, that's once-in-a-lifetime stuff. And here's a big one. If you're the type of traveler who values slow mornings, private downtime, room service in robes, you might genuinely enjoy the space and vibe of a balcony or suite. But if you're like me, the kind of cruiser who wants to explore every deck, hit every show, and squeeze every ounce of adventure out of the trip, then you don't need a balcony. You need a charging station, a shower, and a place to crash. That's it. You don't need your cabin to be a destination, because the ship and the journey already is. And if that sounds like you, then an inside cabin just makes sense. That's why I almost always stay in an inside cabin. And maybe you should too. Let me know in the comments, what kind of cabin do you usually book and why? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a new tip from Cruise Blog. Thanks for watching, and happy cruising. The balcony cabin is a status symbol, not a necessity. You pay more, but you get less privacy, more noise, and honestly, more problems. Save the money. Book an inside cabin, sleep in complete darkness, and spend that money on experiences that really matter. Excursions, upgrades, your next trip. Don't pay for the hype. Pay for the experience. I'll see you in the next video.